Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 54 of the Ventthis podcast. I'm your host, Paul Roseberry, joined by your other host, Meatloaf.
No, my kids call me Meatloaf.
And so does her Zoom on this day. You ever do that? You ever switch up your Zoom? You change it from your name to your Meatloaf nickname just for one thing? Yeah. Forget. Chris has done that today. Chris, you want to give a big hello?
Yes, I'm happy to be here, and I'm excited to talk about our two guests because we've had a long standing about this one particular woman, and she's finally here in the flesh, and she's a very good friend of mine, and I love her dearly. And ladies and gentlemen, Loretta.
And I had to show up just to shut Paul up. Prove that live from LA, I do exist. I am Loretta the letter reader, and I'm here to read the letters in person for your thrill and enjoyment.
Thank you.
And Loretta, not only have you made an amazing appearance today, but you've also brought a friend.
A really good friend.
Guys, I'd like to introduce today's guest. We're doing a guest today. We have the lovely Ms. Jennifer Buchanan. Jenny, would you like to say hello and give a little hello?
Excited to be here. I've enjoyed the podcast so far.
Great.
Well, that's a great step to guesting. That's a great step. You know, I think we would consider people even who haven't enjoyed it. I think that would be just as interesting, probably.
And by the way, we've had people who haven't enjoyed it, as we reveal in our comments, right, Paul?
I mean, things happen. There's a lot of venting.
Just want to give a shout out. We got Boomer ladies in the house today, taking charge, kicking ass.
Yes.
Well, now, not just Boomer ladies. I do want to give a little rundown on who our friend Jenny is. I'm told, Jenny, you were Juilliard school trained. Is that accurate?
Wow.
Yes.
And I do see also that you have done some guest starring when one of the greatest shows ever was on. Everybody Loves Raymond and Home Improvement.
Wow, yeah, applause.
Those, big
those
applause.
Are big names.
Fun
Guys,
comedy.
we don't mess around. What's that?
Fun comedies.
Very fun. And this is Ventthis, guys. In case you're wondering, is it just Chris and I and Chuck in a basement somewhere with like a ham radio Chuck might offer as one of his references? I think he's into, the vintage, if you will. No, we're real. We're real. The Emmys are real. Our guests are real. And, okay, Loretta's real. Okay, I said it. Loretta's real.
Thank you. Thank you.
In fairness,
it takes a big man to acknowledge a faux pas like that.
Oh, okay. Hold on. She's saying it's a faux pas. I'm going to clarify. One, I have no prior reference. I was given no earlier images or likenesses of Loretta. This could be anybody off the street sent to fill in. This could still be some sort of alien abduction, CIA cover up. No problem. Easily. But also I have to point out, as those of you who have ears have been noticing so far, our lovely co-host Chuck is not able to make it today.
Correct.
And things happen. Schedules are tough. It is a weekday. But for anyone who's ever been a fan of Superman, you do notice Superman and Clark Kent are never found in the same room. And is it not coincidental? Is it not coincidental? The one day Chuck isn't here, Loretta is.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Please.
Nice.
Please. You think I fell off the turnip truck last week? I know what's going on here. I get it. I'll go with it.
Wait, Paul?
Chuck couldn't make it, but here's Loretta. Oh, okay. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing today. That's what we're doing. Okay. I'm in.
So, wait, if Jenny were to pull Loretta's hair, would it come off? Because that could potentially be Chuck.
No, it's
no. That looks real, Paul.
That's very nicely done hair. I would hate to see anything come of that. I wouldn't, for Chuck or Loretta, whoever did that, it was a very good hair to not have pulled, which is part of, you know what I mean? I looked down the rabbit hole.
And
I looked down the rabbit hole.
We were talking earlier as we set up everything that I have kind of a large head. And my head is definitely bigger than Chuck's. Now, I know you can do a lot with a wig, but I don't think you can make the head bigger. To suit your theory of
Right.
being Chuck being
That's a bold admission. You know what? I'm going to chalk that up to real credibility. That's the first part of hard to argue credibility of this episode. All right, Loretta, we're going with it. We're going with it. So, guys, are we ready to kick? What, as I say, are we ready to kick it off? This is the beauty. We get to actually have the letters from Loretta, read by Loretta. I'm very excited. I get to
It
hear
is.
in
live in person. Okay, are we ready?
How
Should
about
I
that?
start, Chris?
Yes.
Yeah.
Go, girl.
First vent, stadium lighting in the front yard. Hi, Ventthis. I love listening to your show, but always thought I never really had anything to send in. Well, now I do. My neighbors went to a salvage lot and bought a light that is in an X shape, and the bulbs shoot down from it with bright lights. They installed it in the front of their house. This light used to be in a parking lot of a baseball stadium. I asked them about the light, and they are so proud of it because it lights up their entire front lawn all the way to the curb, and they think it will deter burglaries. Well, that's what an alarm system is for. When this light is on, I feel like I'm in a parking lot. I'm going to have to go to City Hall or go to the neighbors themselves and cause trouble, but this thing has got to go. I thought, you know what? Let me ask Ventthis first. Do they think I'm reasonable? It's ridiculous. Sign. Really fed up with these paranoid neighbors.
Huh.
I think that's a great one.
It is.
I think I'm also flattered that we are checked in with as an intermediary. It's very flattering. That's nice that we are somewhere between being upset and going to City Hall. There's a Ventthis check-in. I don't, Jenny, as our guest, you want to throw some light? I mean, that's the cheesiest thing. You want to,
nice.
I know. We're kicking it right off
Cheesy, but
with
good.
straight cheddar.
The light I have is that it sounds miserable, and I would go right to the front door of the neighbor and kindly tell them that it is shining too much light and perhaps suggest alternative lighting in a friendly, neighborly fashion.
Okay.
Well,
I agree.
Sorry.
What do you got? No, go ahead.
I think they already don't have a good relationship, these two neighbors, because the letter writer was already chatting with the neighbor about the light. That's how lecture writer knows they came from a baseball stadium, etc. And that didn't say it's too bright for this neighborhood. It's probably, it's shining in my house and stuff like that. So I think there's probably already a little friction there. And this has to be handled daintily.
I agree. I think the relationship is strained already because it's good detective work. There is too much information already gained, unless this is neighborhood chatter. But the only thing I would leave as a possibility, maybe our venter hasn't mustered up the guts to go and approach it. Maybe they're conversationally oh, that's quite a light, and then they get the info and they're like, oh, cool. And they walked away. Have they brought it up? It's hey, you're kind of upsetting people, can we find another way? Maybe the neighbor hasn't said no yet. Maybe they don't, probably they're still going to be screw you.
Well, you bring up a good point, Paul, that so many people, over the years, if anybody's knocked on my door about something that's bothering them, it's been bothering them for a while. And the day that they decide to show up, I'm thinking of a couple of instances over the years, they're banging on my front door. It's why didn't you tell me a month ago? Why didn't you tell me 2 months ago when we got the fence installed? All these different things that we're perfectly happy to, and always try to calm them down and say, we'll fix it right away. But they sit on it and build up all this resentment. So I certainly hope that this guy, man or woman, whoever they are, will go over and say, hey, we got a problem.
Yeah.
Lights out.
I find so I've had neighbor issues where I've gone both routes. I've gone the route of like, hey, stop, or I'm gonna beat you. You know, I've gone that route,
Okay.
which is a very bad idea because it has no end. Then I mean,
Right.
you don't really do it, but then it's like now you have to wonder, are they going to key my car? And then if I think they keep my car, then do I have to go to, you know what I mean? Like it's like the McCoys and the Hatfields. It never ends. You think you don't sleep with this light on, you'll never sleep wondering if you have an enemy across the street.
Correct.
You cannot go that route. You can't. But if you try to go with the mutual and just be like, hey, look, you know, I was talking with a buddy about the same kind of mindset. If you were me, if you go to the neighbor and say, hey, if you were me, and suddenly your neighbor, they get this light, they're excited about it, but now I can't sleep. You know what I mean? If I go in my living room, sometimes I like to relax at night and, you know, it's Shea Stadium over here. What would you do if you were me? And just kind of let them solve it.
Yeah.
I'm being very optimistic, but I mean, maybe just try that. And then ultimately at the end of the road, I think we could get City Hall to make an agreement because when I was a kid in high school, people who wanted to tint their cars, what you would do is you would, if you wanted it more than the legal amount, you would super armor all your dashboard. So it was really reflective. And then there's a lumen reader that would actually determine how much light was reflecting. And so it would then say, well, in order for my eyes, you know, I need extra protection here. So my point is you could get a lumen reader and stand on your front yard. The city could probably send an inspector and determine the number of lumens coming from that house and say, hey, strangely enough, we have an ordinance. We do. You can't have industrial lighting past 8 p.m. in a non-construction zone. I mean, really, there are rules.
I know there's rules about the sound too. That's how many decibels.
Yeah.
And you can go after barking dogs and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
There are regulations if you look into it, but you have to be diligent about following up and be prepared that the next neighborhood block party, you know, one of you is not going to be invited and it might be you who complained.
Paul.
Yes.
What were
Meatloaf.
you like in high school? This is like the fifth. Loretta and Jenny haven't heard this, but this guy has done the weirdest things in high school. What kind of a kid were you in high school? Did you get in trouble a lot?
Yes.
I knew it. I knew it. You have that innocent face, but you're a troublemaker. I knew it.
Yes.
I knew it. Okay.
One of my favorite things was when people said, "You smoke? You don't look like a guy who'd smoke." And I'd be like, "You have no idea.
The angel.
This is the least. This is the tip of the iceberg." Yes, it's funny to pick up on that, Chris.
Yeah.
I have tattoos. We can discuss it another time. But yes,
don't want to see them, but yeah.
I think ultimately though, just it sounds like we're about to wrap on this. I would say any next step, bring cookies. Start with, you know what I mean? Like, do you get further with honey than with vinegar? Bring cookies, some homemade brownies, even if it's the Betty Crocker $2.99, who cares? Just bring something good and be like, hey, let's chat.
Wait,
see if
Paul,
if that goes.
Brownies, like brownies, or
what the hell else do you think I mean by that, Chris? I'm so curious if you could give us B, C, and D options on what else.
Well, what?
You mean get them high?
Yes.
Wow. I'm the bad guy. You just called me out. I'm the rebel, and I didn't even consider the weed brownies.
Loosen it up a little bit. Yeah.
Well, you could bring a bottle of whiskey if it's like that. You know, be like, hey, you want to have a quick drink? I just want to chat. You know, maybe do that.
Yeah.
I like where you're going with it, Chris. But
might make matters worse.
You might
be
Loretta?
Speak to somebody in AA. You might be bringing.
Oh my God, you're right.
Sweets to a diabetic. I don't know. I'd bring like a plant. You know.
Oh, Loretta.
I can bring plant.
Hey, you know what, Loretta? With what you were saying though, so say like you say, you bring them food, they might be allergic. You bring them alcohol, they might be AA, and you go, see. Now you see how it feels? You try to do something benign that you think is a good time and it upsets someone else. So you might see where I'm coming from about this light, which is why I'm really here to talk to you. You know what I mean? It could be a good parlay into the conversation. It could be. Or ultimately, there's always, again, we don't go down the Hatfield McCoy, but wherever they got their light, maybe they got more of them. Maybe you pick one up. and maybe you point it directly at their house. Maybe you just, you know what I mean? Maybe you fight fire with blazing fire and you just go full on. You get 2 lights and you make sure, you know, like maybe you get a drone with a couple lights and you goes, I mean,
And
we can't get
I
cynical.
like
We
the
can't get
drone because you
cynical.
can fly by their bedroom window and shine right in.
That's what
yeah,
I'm saying. Yeah.
yeah.
The drone, that
Maybe.
was very clever, Paul. I think you can solve
Yeah.
a
Like
lot of
that.
neighborhood
I like that.
arguments and disputes with that suggestion. And
Love it.
details
Love it.
Whatever the
gonna
city
increase after
ordinance
this
is.
episode airs.
Yeah.
All right, should we move on to
There's
the
air
next?
rights. You just get above the
Okay.
air rights.
Okay, you want me
Shall
to move on?
Yes, because we're causing way too much trouble.
Okay, great. Theater flashing lights is our second letter tonight. Let's see what this is all
Wait, Loretta, what'd you say?
Theater flashing lights.
Oh, okay.
This was one of my worst experiences. I was attending a Broadway play, Hamilton to be exact, and the tickets were very expensive. We had great seats, orchestra in the middle row. Right before the curtain rose, this person in a balcony seat had their cell phone flashlight on, and
Oh,
it was glaring right at the stage. When
oh,
we turned around to see where it was coming from, it practically blinded us. I have to believe this person did not know it was on, but that is hard to believe too, since you can tell when the flashlight is on. We had to wait until intermission before we could say something. Wouldn't you know, my papers are a little stuck together here. Isn't there's some kind of etiquette rule that says no cell phones can be turned on? What a waste. But thank God we had seen it before. But those poor people who hadn't, their night was ruined. Hope you hosts are theater goers. What's the answer?
well, I think this should be Jenny because Jenny's an actress.
Who's
Yeah.
currently
Been on
appearing in a play
stage.
in Upland,
A
California.
thespian.
I did think this would be horrible for the actors as well. They may have felt it on stage. Isn't there, if it were my theater, I would say drop all cell phones on your way in, like you treat a first grader who brings a cell phone to school. But perhaps it would have been best to go. We don't know whether this happened into the play, do we? The recognition of the light was in the play. Just go out to the management and have a loudspeaker. Of course, the person who did it might not be able to hear. I have a mother who's 96 who can't hear anything. So I did think of that.
Hmm. But what happens if I have a question though, since you're the actress, what happens if you're on stage and you see this light like glaring at you from the balcony and it's disrupting your performance? Can you guys just stop and go, hey, that person in rows in the balcony up there, can you do that?
I don't think I would have the nerve to do that personally. I think some people would. I think probably the best road is to avert your gaze. So, I mean, it's not the stadium light, it's a cell phone light. So it's like somebody eating popcorn in the front row and hearing all of it. You just ignore it and press on.
Well, I would think though, as actors change, you know, as an actor is on the stage, sees it, and then is out of the scene. Well, as soon as you get backstage, you could tell a showrunner, be like, "Hey, send an usher up to the balcony with
Exactly.
what's going on with the light." So I'm really surprised that a production as high end as Hamilton wouldn't self-police. I hate to say, but you know, wouldn't have a plan for this. It's really strange.
Yeah.
And I think Hamilton, when that came out, I was living in New York when it came out. Those tickets were over $1,000 per person. So imagine you go on a date and then you spend $2,500, $3,000 just on the tickets.
Yeah.
I would hope the environment is pristine. You know what I mean? I wouldn't. People get upset at that over a $17 movie ticket. Some guy has his light on in one of the rows. You know, you might yell across and say, "Hey," you know, I've heard people yell.
Yeah.
And you kind of know there's a vibe that like, hey, we're all with him. If this turns into something, like we'll all yell too. Shut that off. We want to watch the rest of the movie and we don't want to hear any more back and forth. So, God, at such a high ticket event,
I know.
yeah, I'm not the last guy to just go over and say, like, I would go to an usher first. I would pop up. I would go to an usher first and say, "Hey, there's someone in the front. Can you go take care of this?" Because then I don't have to deal with the confrontation. A person in a uniform is dealing with it. You're not probably going to argue with them. And if not, then yeah, then I might go over and shine my light in his
But-
face and say, turn it off. I really might.
But that's the thing. When you're in the theater, and Jenny, correct me if I'm wrong, you never see an usher. Once you sit down in your seat, unless you get up, walk all the way up to the aisle, leave this, the whole room, you're not going to see an usher anywhere. So now you're losing,
Your own
the
time.
performances.
Yeah.
What?
You're losing your watching time.
Yeah.
And
Yes. Yeah.
crawling over people to get out of the.
And they're pissed now.
And you got to
I
crawl
mean,
know
the
over
whole
what?
place is
and we
pissed off
back
now.
in.
There's also something in my mind though. If I complain to an usher and nothing is done about it, then at least it's on record. And after the show, I'm getting free tickets to something else. I'll tell
Yeah.
you what,
Yeah.
if you ruin $1,000 ticket for me and whoever I'm with, we're coming back to see Wicked for free next week. Let's be
Yeah.
real. Like,
Yeah.
this is not, come on. You don't want these 1-star reviews that this place is a junkyard and anything goes. And, people, that's not a good look for the theater. Yeah. Do something about it. Come on. Because
Yeah.
I'm a fan of the arts, It's,
Well,
Yeah.
Paul, as a fan of the arts, I think you'll appreciate this story from somebody I used to know. Took his wife and kids, to see one of the big famous productions in LA, and they bought expensive seats. It was, I don't remember what show they saw. It doesn't matter. But someone near them was farting.
Oh, no.
Over and
No.
And he
No.
was so repulsed. And when it got to intermission, this is a true story, he stood up and said, whoever is farting right around here, you better excuse yourself at intermission, tell them you're sick, and get tickets for another date. Because if you fart again when when act
Yes.
two starts, I'm
I
going to
love it.
stop and say, I can't take the farting anymore. People were laughing. They were farting. It
that
was
is fun.
hysterical.
That's
That's-
great.
I wasn't there, but even in the retelling, it's hysterical.
I hope that this is a good friend of yours. Are you still close with this person?
No,
Are
I
you-
don't see them anymore. Lives change, but yeah.
Oh, keep
Great.
that
Anyone's
person
big
close.
Theater.
Keep that guy's a winner. Whoever that, you know what? That's great. And I know what it takes. A recent flight that I was on, I think it was the last one, we were coming back from Germany, and somebody was farting
Yep.
nonstop, and it was wretched. I mean,
Ah.
rancid, like something fierce. And that's a 10, maybe 11, 12-hour flight. And it was early on. And you know how it
Ah.
is now? They shut the shades, so it's dark, and it's just this kind of, you're supposed to relax. And all I'm just getting. And I finally, after a while, it's probably an hour in, and I yelled very similarly. I said, whoever is farting, stop it now. Go to the bathroom, whoever. And I'm just giving this pan offering to whoever. And I
That's right.
kind of felt that it was this senior Asian lady at the seat in front of me. I was fairly certain it was her. Just, I didn't want, she's kind of the lowest, the low point of where I don't want to upset her, but I want her to be included. She was like the most fragile I would be with the delivery. You know what I mean? If we were just regular adults, then we could all handle a little more rough and tough. So I was a little nicer about it. In case / because I knew it was her. And my wife looked at me, she's across the aisle. She's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, enough. I've had enough. And I'm not alone. I know everyone's had enough. This is a very small plane, not a small plane, but a small environment. And whoever it was needs to stop, just stop. And
I have with my loud New York voice, my husband and I will look and take across the aisle, because we both like an aisle, leaned into the aisle and said, husband, I'm nauseous. Someone keeps farting. I've done that.
Yeah, but you know what I would be thinking? The one who smelt it, dealt it. Paul, it was you. Loretta, it was
I've
you.
never-
Don't lie. You guys
never
farted
found
and
that
that was it.
There's always a waft cloud coming over somebody who was not the person who brought it
yes.
up. Right.
Like a peanut gallery, like a pig pen, when you can
Yeah,
see
exactly.
the
I
kind of
was picturing
swirls
the
and
same thing,
flies.
right.
It's like, come on, you can cut this with a knife.
And
What
by the way,
hell?
wait,
How
but
is
Paul,
this not seriously?
Loretta, who's
Seriously.
going to admit ever? Let's
No.
say I'm the fartee, okay? You think I'm going to raise my hand and I'm going to go, oh, it was me. Sorry, I farted. I'll stop. No.
You don't need to admit. You just need to
Correct.
squeeze those
Correct.
cheeks and
Cease.
hold it till we land. That's
Oh
only
my
See?
God.
Cease and desist.
Cease.
That's all. Cease and desist.
Cease and
There's no admission of guilt. There's no trial. You just, like you said, just do some pinching.
Right.
Do some
Okay.
pinching. We're all in this together.
Oh, my eyes
It's a
are
long
tearing.
flight. It's a long drop to the bottom.
Oh my God.
30,000 feet's a long way. When you don't want to be mutiny of the sky. Wow. We're on the same page there, New Yorker.
All right. What do you say, Chris? Should I move on?
Yes, please.
Give me that look. I thought
wait,
that
Loretta,
read
that vent stunk. What we just said.
Wow.
I'm here all week. Sorry.
Wow. And she even fixed the shoulder on that.
Yeah,
Shit,
yeah,
For those
I'm
who are only listening, she kind of,
Tough guy getting ready.
Remember
That's
back in the
it.
day,
Leather jacket. Right.
no, back in the day, Rodney Dangerfield, that stand-up, he would
Yeah.
be like adjusting
Right,
it
right.
after each
Yeah.
joke. Yeah, not Rodney, but anyway, yeah, go ahead.
yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
That was Rodney Dangerfield. Yeah. Okay.
Good, no
At
respect.
number 3, wave me in and say thanks. Hello, fellow Venters. Why can't people wave thank you when you let them in your lane? It's a kind and courteous gesture to do. I always acknowledge the person who lets me in their lane because they don't have to do it. I have sat there letting people in my lane and no one acknowledges my generosity. Everyone, just wave thank you and be on your merry way. Chris, Chuck, and Paul, let's start a movement of kindness.
Bravo. I'm with that
Yes.
person.
Yes. I
Moving
wave
some
to
kindness.
this vent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jenny, what do you think?
I
What do you
waved
got,
to
Jenny?
it also.
What?
I also waved to it. The
That's a
Pasadena.
very distinguished wave. That's like a Queen of England. That's a very British royalty wave. I like that. That's the right to left on an axis. That's that's the
And that,
What do you call
as
that?
Jenny said, that is what they teach the Rose Court at the Rose
The
Bowl
Rose
Parade
Parade.
on January 1st. They sit there as they go 7 miles.
it's an oscillating.
I
It's an
don't-
oscillating wave.
Right.
Wow, that doesn't look
I
like
do
it's
think it improves traffic to let people in. So even if you don't get a thank you, I think you're, from a world perspective, improving the flow of traffic. If that helps.
I have spoken so much about the wave. I live in LA and I've also lived in New York where you get kind of hard living in the city, but I'm from New Hampshire. And I believe we should all treat each other like we live together, like we're going to see each other again. I don't know, maybe like you like each other. Maybe people you've never met, you just kind of default to like instead of get the hell out of my way. You're a nuisance, you're a problem. I'm going to stomp on you and run you out. Like the wave, it's just such a social lubricant. If we could all do it, it would be like, oh, maybe the world isn't entirely out to get me. A couple people waved to me today. It's almost like I'm human. It's like I'm real, but you don't get that wave. And then you start to go, if I were king, I would feed that person to the lions. That non-waiver. It's like, it's such a slippery slope from like, oh, we're kin. I got a wave. I would invite that guy into my home for coffee. And then if it's not there, the assumption of, you know what? I bet they park in handicap spots. I bet they eat multiple samples. You know what? I bet these guys, you know what? This guy's probably got a light in his front yard, doesn't care what his neighbors think. You know what? This guy, I'm done with it. Like you categorize so heavily, so quickly.
Parts on planes, right?
Yeah.
Farts on planes, maybe, and live performances.
Let's just take a contrarian point of view here. I was in the car last holiday season with my son who lives in foreign country. He's over here. And we're in our little town. And then we're at a 4-way stop. And we all kind of got there around the same time. And it's the holiday time. And I'm chatting with my son. I don't care who goes, So I'm like, let him go, go.
Oh.
And then the other one's going, no, like you go. And everyone's going, like you go. And he said, oh my God, this bullshit suburban kindness. For God's sake, just drive through. You're all waving at each other like it's a high school reunion. Just keep going.
Oh,
So
I love it.
maybe there's a little give and take. Not every thing deserves a wave and a this and that.
A bow.
To your point, sometimes it can be awkward when someone waves to you when to like let you go. And it's actually wrong. Like they have the right of way and the traffic is moving. This is not the time to wave me on. You got to keep going. No. You like you go.
I've done that too.
Thank you. you go, because otherwise,
Your turn, your turn, your turn.
yeah, neither of us are going to get a wave from anyone behind me if I go because you waved. We're now equally jerks because you actually don't know how to drive. You're sound engineer Gary waved a very single finger wave.
You know what else pisses me off? Let's say somebody let me in. I'm getting onto the freeway. Somebody lets me in. You know what I do? I say thank you. I wave to thank them.
Yeah.
But they don't thank me back. That's another thing.
But
Like
you
they
wanted
should
your
go like
welcome.
this, hey.
Wanted your welcome wave. Right. I give I wave rapidly where they can see me straight ahead, as I'm going into the lane. Thank you, thank you. And you want them to go, you're welcome.
No, they're like,
are you
got
inventing a you're welcome
Like
wave? I think she's inventing a you're welcome wave.
I think so they know that I'm acknowledging their kindness. So they should go, oh, great. Now we're both on the same
I do that,
page.
but I don't expect it. I don't expect the you're welcome wave.
All right.
I like that.
Loretta.
You're welcome wave, Loretta. We're going to start that. That's the kindness movement.
Wait a
You're
minute.
welcome.
What, isn't that dangerous when you're merging to be looking for a counter wave?
No, you're looking in your
looking
rearview
for it.
mirror.
Instead of straight ahead at the
Instead of where traffic is. Yes. Jenny,
and then
to
you
your
wonder how
point.
people get rear-ended as they merge. Right. There she is. She started it. She started the you're welcome wave. She started it and it caused all these rear-end accidents here in Southern California.
Great.
You know what? All right. There's two things. One, and Loretta, I think you had a great catch there because I think if we were breaking it down into technicals, Chrissy, the gesture to let you in was their initial wave. So you're waving to say thank you for letting you in. That can be the end of the conversation because they did have initial nice gesture. Like they let you in. If they blew you off and they're like, oh, sorry, I screwed you. You're owed that wave. It's like, oh, okay. You didn't mean to, whatever. But by them slowing down to let you in, that is kind of the first wave. Your wave is the thank you wave. And there's no you're welcome wave due. It's okay. It's okay. It's nice if they're like, oh, okay, we're in Oklahoma. We'll just keep this going, for the next 10 exits, fine.
This kind of
But
reminds
it's
me
not.
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, in all true wave etiquette, as much as we're all pro wave here, I'm not sure that wave is as due. I think it was implied. The initial gesture was the first wave.
The thank you wave is reminding me of when somebody sends a thank you note for a gift they got. And they say, I sent her a thank you note and she never acknowledged my thank you note. I haven't heard back. It's like,
wow.
When did that start? You got to tell people you got the thank you note. It feels like it's a slippery slope from the thank you note to the you're welcome wave.
Because you're right. How far does it go?
Busy. Back of our, oh, thank you for that. Thank you for thanking me for the thank you note. Yeah. Oh, thank you for letting me over to the side of the road and exchange contact information.
Yeah. Should we be friends now? Because we're both mutual waivers. We're in the AAA wave club. Should we at least email? We should at least email sometimes.
But if the guy behind me waves me in and I'm not paying attention and now I kind of tap the guy in front of me, now we all get pulled over. I've got new friends.
No, not all. The guy behind you is gone saying, I can't believe I let that woman in. And then the first thing she did was pay so much attention to me. She drove into somebody. I don't want to be an accomplice to this. I'm out of here. Screech. Yeah. Last time I waved to anyone.
And I was
Chris, this could actually,
I was already late. And I was
already. Or he tries directly to the bar to meet a buddy and be like, you're never going to believe it. I caused an accident earlier. You know how I did it? I let someone in. I just tried to do something nice. The woman's so excited. She drives directly into the car in front of her. I don't know. You know what? I guess I'll be a jerk from now on. Last time I do something nice for anyone, I could have cost,
There goes our kindness movement. All right.
I will tell you, just to wrap on this, because I can't leave this out. And this is, I'll be vulnerable for a moment. When I was 16.
Oh no.
In high school.
Wait, Paul, high school story?
Yeah.
Oh,
but this isn't like rebel badass. This is thoroughly embarrassing.
Okay.
I had this truck. My father got this truck from a guy he worked with who's willing to sell for $400. You know, you're a kid, you don't have any money. This is great. I'm so excited. I get a little used Chevy S10 pickup for $400, and I'm excited. It had a cap, extended cab in New England. This is awesome. I'm just excited to be on the road. Well, because I lived in a small town in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, and we really did all know each other. I see this kid. I'm driving to school in the morning. I'm barely awake. It's 7 o'clock. And this kid is waving to me from a perpendicular road. Now, I wanted to be polite. Sorry, my shades are. To be polite, I look over and I wave to him. As I'm waving, I don't realize the home heating oil delivery truck in front of me has come to a complete stop. And I drive full speed into the back of a home heating oil truck. Full speed. Bam! Gone. I mean, no airbags, nothing. I just grabbed the wheel. It just bounced off. And the kid who I was waving to, he knew that accident was because I was such a happy hick that I had to wave to start. You know what I mean? I'm so friendly. I'm friendly to a fault that it cost me a truck. It cost me my car that I was, if I just hadn't waved as kid, or I don't know, said hello at school where we were both going because it was 7 o'clock in the morning, I still would have had my truck. And fortunately, though, the guy who drove the heating oil truck, because again, it's New Hampshire, we don't have to be jerks. He looked at his truck. He saw it was 1/2-inch steel on the back of the truck. He goes, "Yeah, my oil truck's totally fine. You got to get that thing towed." And yeah, and I lost a truck. It was totaled. I lost it, all over a wave. But do I still wave to people?
Yes.
I do.
Your car was
do.
filled with kindness.
Yeah.
Yes, literally. Car was killed with kindness.
So on our show, we have comments that people write in, whether they like an event, not like event. So I'm going to read 3 comments, which we normally do. And here's the first comment. I really want to request this. When are we getting Ventthis baseball caps? Chuck is always wearing a hat. Give him a Ventthis cap. Chris wears a Buffalo Bills cap because I'm a fan of the Buffalo Bills. Give her one. I have seen Paul wear a Boston Red Sox hat, so give him one. Who's in charge here? Get them their gear. Well, we're going to get Ventthis caps, and we'll hand those out to Loretta, although Loretta doesn't wear caps. Right, Loretta? You're not a cap lady.
Yeah.
Huh?
Correcto mundo. No,
Yeah.
I don't
yeah.
wear baseball caps.
All right, so no cap for
no,
Loretta.
you're not going to cap that hair.
Yeah,
That's
no cap
you
for
know,
her.
people need to tune in. I hope people who only listen get curiosity from our talk of Loretta's hair. You know, I hope people convert into video listeners because that's
Yeah.
what we want, and we'll use Loretta's hair as a prop.
Yeah. And it's her real hair. Chuck's not there.
Her own real growing hair. Remember those
Yeah.
commercials? Cy
Yeah.
Sperling, the hair club for men. Anyway.
All right, so here's comment number 2. We don't need, and by the way, Paul, and you too, Gary, you don't need, you have beautiful hair. Okay. Here's comment number 2. My friend told me your podcast is pretty good, so I checked it out, and it is good. My name is Butch. Butch. And I'm happy, and I'm from New Jersey. Chuck said, Chuck, are you happy I gave my name? Isn't that what Chuck likes? Chuck's always saying, give us your name so we know who, you know, we can respond to you. So this person is doing that in the comment. All right, here's, oh my God, listen to the last comment.
Wait, hold on. Can we just
Yes?
mention, I just want to point out, and you know, Loretta, you probably can appreciate this. It's not very common to meet someone from New Jersey who's happy. So I think that was kind of a rare right there already, especially Butch. You know what I mean?
Butch, that can't be a
like
real name.
No, a Butch is usually someone who's, you know, like got a lot going on. So to meet a
Yeah.
happy Butch from Jersey, what a
Yeah.
diamond in the rough.
Yeah.
I hope Butch becomes a regular listener. Thank you
Yeah.
for all of that, Butch.
Yes, thanks, Butch. All right, here's the last comment. I too want to see Loretta on the show. Oh my God, this is perfect. Paul does not believe she exists. So can we have Loretta on the show so everyone can believe she is an AI? We all need proof. Loretta, prove yourself, girl.
I'm here. I'm from New Jersey. but now I'm a Californian and just here to defend both East and West Coast. Waivers, non-waivers. I'm here. I'll read the letters.
You're real. Jenny
real.
Pincher.
She's real.
Okay, great.
And I hope everyone realizes that my, questioning thus far was really just a drum roll. It was a drum roll to bring Loretta back. That's what
Yeah.
it was. It was none other than that. We're very excited to have Loretta.
Yeah.
Hopefully this could become maybe a habit.
Yeah, we'd
Maybe,
love to have you back for
We'll
sure.
Listen.
Jenny too. It's been great.
And Jenny, anytime. This is like finding Carmen Sandiego. Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? Like, this is the episode where Carmen Sandiego is here. Like we have the answer. Like Carmen Sandiego meets Waldo.
Right.
Like this is the intersection of that level of unlikelihood. And
Yes. Good
yeah.
one.
Well, guys, thank you so much. This has been so fun. We really appreciate this. Right?
Yeah.
And
Jenny, like what's your take? Like, is this kind of your first run seeing all this? Like, are we completely insane? Or are we
No,
the moral barometer? Like, what do you think?
I
of
think
us here?
you're a fun and fancy-free moral barometer.
nice.
Hot
I like
dog.
that. I'll take
We'll
that.
take that. We'll take
Yeah.
it. That's how you get invited back right there. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, yeah. Butter
Just
us
the
up.
same though, if you told us to get lost and we were terrible, we'd be like, bring that back too. Because we kind of
But
kinda
everybody has vents, right? I mean, who doesn't?
Oh, hey, you know what? Actually, on the way out, and maybe we'll get into more of this another time. But this happened today. I'm opening my mail. So my car, I paid off my car today. Well, I guess like very recently, but yeah, thank you. I went with the 72-month plan. I didn't think I'd still own it. I hoped I'd be in a better place and have gotten rid of it by now. But it is a nice car. I'm very happy with it. Anyway, nonetheless, there's a funny thing that happens when you pay off your car, and I was afraid this would happen. I registered it in June, paid for the year, paid it off this month. I get a letter from the DMV telling me I have till January to register it again.
Oh,
Because technically, I wasn't the owner. I didn't hold the title, even
right.
though it wasn't a lease. Like it was my car. It's very much my car. So yeah, so I only get half of the previous registration. That's a ripoff.
That's a ripoff.
Come
That
on.
is
I should.
California taxing too much.
I knew I
Boom.
liked you, Jenny. I knew I liked you. Yes. That's, I don't know if we could, Chris and I had mentioned to Chris via text, and this is something that hopefully, we may come back to it, but I think it would be an interesting dimension of the show if we were to pick like a consumer vent, like one per episode, if we can, to have people say, hey, I think this drives me nuts. If you guys
Yeah.
agree, maybe we can start a petition. I don't know, get nuts.
Yeah.
At least we start with some comments. And if it is something that could really help and change, maybe Ventthis becomes like, helpful. And as Gary's pointed out, how to comment, how to vent, put it right in the comments, whether it's on YouTube, Instagram, wherever you find us, but let us know, because I think there are a lot of products that like we're saying with the registration, that's a ripoff. That's a ripoff.
Yeah,
And if
that
enough of
is.
us get upset about things like that, that
Yeah.
are specific, maybe we get a letter to the congressman or say, who knows?
Yeah, let's do it.
Good
Let's do
idea.
it.
Maybe we vent,
Okay, that's on the agenda, Paul. Excellent.
Yeah.
I mean, all of you guys, when you listen to us, you can always go to and leave your events on our website, Ventthis.org. So if you've got a consumer event or any kind of event, leave it there. Watch us on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. Call it in. Paul, what's that number? 818-570. Yeah.
2535.
Thank you, everybody. Yay!
thank you.